Let me tell you something wild. Right now, a community of bacteria in your gut is helping decide how much estrogen is in your body. I'm Dr. B. I'm a triple board certified gastroenterologist with over 20 years in medicine. For years, I have cared for women who told me a similar story. In their mid-40s, they come to me and they say, I've been the same person for 20 years. My body worked, my gut worked, my sleep worked. And in the last 18 months, it feels like it's falling apart. I barely recognize myself. And they get told that it's just their hormones. But it's not just their hormones, it's their gut, it's inflammation. And the two are tangled together with their hormones in a way that changes what you should do about it. Let me show you how this works. I'm gonna give you 5 foods that will help. Let's take a big picture view of estrogen. Picture a sink. We want to get the right amount of water into that sink and we want to keep it balanced. The water is your estrogen. And you've got 2 ways that you can control the proper balance of that water within the sink. The first is a faucet. That's your ovaries. They pour estrogen in when you turn the faucet on. But then you got the drain. That's your gut, your estrobolome, deciding how much flows back out. There's an entire story about estrogen that starts in the liver, believe it or not. In the liver, it will actually break down estrogen and put it into bile. And that bile will flow down into your intestines. And if nothing changes, it will actually leave your body through a poop. But along the way, it comes into contact with your gut microbes. More specifically, a part of your gut microbiome that we have titled your estrobolome. Their responsibility is to help you to maintain estrogen balance throughout your entire body. They're not you, they're not technically a part of you. These are microscopic bacteria that have the responsibility of maintaining estrogen levels inside your body, yet they're outside. When these microbes come into contact with the estrogen that's in the bile, they have the ability to say, hey, we could use that. We'll pull this out, we'll dust it off, make it clean and perfect, and then we'll get it back into the bloodstream, allowing it to contribute to estrogen balance within the body. A healthy estrobolome actually slows the drain. It allows your body to hold on to estrogen longer. In perimenopause, the faucet is sputtering. You just can't crank it back open. You can't just pour out more estrogen. That's where the drain comes in. These microbes, they're readily adaptable. We could actually get better control over estrogen balance, not through the ovaries, but through the gut. And that's why your gut matters more in menopause, not less. But there's something that ties our gut to our estrogen levels and even our ovaries, and that is inflammation. Estrogen isn't only a reproductive hormone. It is quietly anti-inflammatory. It helps hold your gut barrier tight. It keeps your microbiome diverse, and it calms your immune system. So when you picture a woman in her 30s, estrogen levels are steady. The system is working the way that it's supposed to. She feels great. Her gut feels great. Her microbes are doing their job. As we move into perimenopause, the estrogen levels start to drop. The gut barrier loosens. And when it loosens, bacterial fragments can sneak across and get into the bloodstream. And your immune system will see those bacterial fragments and intercept them. And then the immune system gets activated. And we call that inflammation. And we can measure it. There's a blood marker called hsCRP that starts to rise when this happens. And then it starts to feed on itself, unfortunately. That inflammation, that activation of the immune system, it starts to damage the gut barrier itself. When we damage the gut barrier, it impacts the microbiome, but that's where the estrobolome lives. So now this less diverse gut means a damaged estrobolome, your ability to reabsorb this estrogen has been affected as well. That becomes erratic. Inflammation can even stress the ovaries themselves. Now the faucet isn't working. We got a messed up drain, we got a messed up sink, and all of this is because of inflammation breaking it down. So what you've been told is that menopause is one problem. It's all happening in the ovaries. And I'm saying to you, there's 3 parts. It's the ovaries, it's the gut, and it's the inflammation that ties it all together. It's not enough to just mention the estrobolome. We have to feed those microbes. We have to seal the gut barrier. We have to cool the inflammation. And when we do this, we're actually taking the pressure off of the ovaries. And the good news is just a small amount of the right foods can make all the difference. So now you understand why in your 40s, you can feel like a stranger, bloating that wasn't there before, constipation that comes in cycles, foods that you used to love, and then you feel like you can't tolerate them anymore. And it seems like it's random. And I'm telling you, actually, it's not. It's totally predictable. And it's tracking with your hormones and inflammation. That inflammation is the same fire that can show up outside your gut. Joint aches, brain fog, totally disrupted sleep, What I'm saying to you is that women get into their 40s and then all of a sudden it's like, surprise, we have these issues to deal with. No. This is highly predictable. The mistake that we have made is not preparing women with the right health habits and the right foods to protect themselves and mitigate these symptoms. Number 1, eat 30 different plants a week. Not 30 servings, 30 plants. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, seeds, nuts, legumes, herbs, spices, mushrooms too, they all count. Diversity in our diet translates into diversity within our gut. In the American Gut Project, an international study, they found that the people with the healthiest guts were the ones that were eating at least 30 plant foods per week. A diverse gut helps keep the estrogen flowing through the estrobolome, but it does other things too. It produces short-chain fatty acids that seal the gut barrier and calm inflammation. This is the exact same target that I have been encouraging since my book Fiber Fuels came out, and it is still one of the most powerful tools that we have for healing and supporting a healthy gut microbiome. Number 2, real whole food soy. Soy milk, edamame, tofu, tempeh. And the reason why is because soy is rich in something called isoflavones. These are plant-based compounds that some people refer to as phytoestrogens. These plant-based estrogens, they don't behave the same as regular estrogen. They may actually block the estrogen receptor, protecting you. But in other cases, they can activate the estrogen receptor to, for example, make your bones stronger. We get many of the benefits that we're searching for from estrogen while simultaneously avoiding some of the downsides that do exist. And there is a gut microbiome story. Your gut bacteria convert the main soy isoflavone into a more active form called equal. That's your estrobolome, deciding how much benefit you get. And of everything on this list, soy has the most direct evidence for menopause symptoms. In a meta-analysis of randomized controlled trials, soy isoflavones reduced the frequency of hot flashes. There's that old fear that soy raises cancer risk. It's a myth. Major cancer organizations consider whole soy foods not only safe, they actually believe they're protective. In a meta-analysis of nearly 40,000 breast cancer patients, higher soy intake was linked to better survival and lower recurrence of the breast cancer. This is why major cancer centers are now recommending to women that they increase their soy intake after they've been diagnosed. A glass of soy milk is a great place to start. Number 3, a spoonful of ground flax. Ground, not whole. The whole flax will just sail right through you and you don't get the benefits. But when you unlock the shell by grinding it, you are opening up the flax to discover what's inside, the lignans. And your gut bacteria take these lignans and they convert them into compounds called enterolignans, enterodiol and enterolactone, which is exactly the estrobolome doing its job once again. And higher levels of these lignans have been tied to lower risk of chronic disease. They function quite similar to the isoflavones from soy. I say 1 to 2 tablespoons, put it on oatmeal, throw it in a smoothie. No matter what, make sure that's a part of your regular diet. Number 4, cruciferous vegetables. I'm talking about broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, arugula. These cruciferous vegetables support your liver as it metabolizes estrogen and you get better results from it. In a randomized trial, a compound from cruciferous vegetables shifted estrogen metabolism in the favorable direction and raised something called SHBG or sex hormone binding globulin. That's the protein that helps to keep your hormones in balance. So now we're working on your gut and your liver at the same time. And number 5, fermented foods, yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, miso. There was a Stanford trial done by my friends, Professors Christopher Gardner, Justin and Erica Sonnenberg, where they found that fermented foods increased microbiome diversity and lowered markers of inflammation. It's really a quite striking and amazing thing that in just 8 weeks of adding more fermented food to the plate, you could achieve this result: more gut diversity, less inflammation, a tighter gut barrier, less fire. This is exactly what we're searching for. A quick moment of transparency on the data. Soy has the most direct data for symptoms like hot flashes. Flax and cruciferous, they do have some good data for how your body handles estrogen. The others are more upstream. I'm focusing more on your gut and inflammation, not directly the menopause symptoms, but because we know that the gut and inflammation are part of that story, that's why we want to make sure that we address those with what I would describe as the most powerful tools for that specific goal. Together, These 5 food groups, they're the foundation that everything else sits on. But there are some other things that you can do, and I want to add these in as a little sprinkle and a bonus. First up, protein. Your protein needs do go up as we age. The typical target is 1.2 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. For many women, that ends up being about 90 to 110 grams per day, or about 30 grams per meal. And the second is I strongly encourage resistance training. Weight-based training at least 2 or 3 times a day, working all your major muscle groups. It's great for your muscles, which I actually see as a metabolic organ. It's great for your bones. It actually puts tension on them. And that resistance on the bone actually makes them stronger, healthier. But it's also great for the gut microbiome. Resistance training has been shown to shift the gut microbiome towards more short-chain fatty acid producers. One last thing before we run. I'm sure you're wondering about hormone therapy. It's interesting. The science has shifted a lot in the last decade. There was an old fear that came out of a 2002 study, but the problem is that that study mostly enrolled women in their 60s, and we were wrongly applying it to women in their 50s. Here's where the experts stand now. For most healthy women, starting hormone therapy within about 10 years of menopause or before age 60, the benefits generally outweigh the risks. If you start much later than that window, though, the math starts to change. So this is a conversation that you should be having with your doctor, and ultimately it comes down to, do the benefits outweigh the risks? That's a very personal choice, and it also depends on your personal health history. So if you've been going through this, or maybe you're even past all this and you've never actually heard this before, that's not on you. The science is really moving along and continuing to catch up. So what matters is not the past. What matters is taking the information from today and moving it forward. Your body isn't broken. It's changing. It's constantly evolving. The truth is, your body really wants to heal. And what's exciting is that your gut barrier, the inflammation, this is the part that we have the most control over. It's our choices that can make such a huge difference. So if you take away from today, I want you to remember this. Feed the estrobolome, seal the gut barrier, reduce the inflammation. These are things that we can accomplish through your food choices, and it can start with your next meal. If this video was interesting or it helped you, I want you to send it to a friend that you think would relate to it. And I want you to subscribe as well. If you're already subscribing, that's great, but you should hit the notification button, because with that, you'll get a message every single time I got a brand new video. I want you to be there. I don't want you to miss any of these. I want to help you get your gut healthy. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you in the next one.